Hi, welcome to Preps Plus Podcast, Episode 9, brought to you by Sterling Auto Group. We're here with a pair of Kelso juniors, Megan Holt and Jordyn Ragan, as well as Preps reporter Jason Leskew. I'm Joshua Hart, sports editor. I want to start with Kelso Softball's league championship. What was that like to go through that season undefeated and capture that crown? I'll start with you, Jordyn.
Our team absolutely did an amazing job of always keeping at it and wanting to win. I mean, we tapped into what we wanted and we got it.
Megan?
Well, our league, most of the people in our league weren't very good per se, but it gave us a lot of time to work on our hitting and work on getting runs because last season we had a lot of people left on base, so it really got us getting them in.
Last year you were able to challenge yourselves a little bit with a non-league schedule, but with the size of this league, as well as combined with the rain, you guys weren't able to necessarily get in as many tough non-league games. Is it tough to go into a game, aside from Prairie, not really having that kind of same level of competition?
At sometimes it is because we're good enough to beat anybody, but sometimes we play down to their level, which is not good for us. But
I would say that we practice in the cage and the gym all the time, it's definitely not the dirt. And especially during open cages, we were all excited to get out, but there was just so much rain that our field, it was just a lake. And when we finally get out on the dirt, it's just so exciting. And
we're so much more fortunate than other teams because we play teams that haven't even practiced on the dirt once, and we've practiced so many times.
Right. As pitchers, how do you prepare when you guys are inside so much? I imagine you can do some things, but what's different about practicing outside as a pitcher versus practicing indoors?
It's a whole new world because when you're inside, you're on turf or the gym floor, so the ground is different, obviously. Mm-hmm. So you have a different drag, and you have a different, your speed looks different because you're in a closed space. And when you get out on the dirt, you seem farther away and you seem very slower, everything's a lot slower. So it's just different, and I think transitioning is a little bit hard. It takes a week, less than that, to do it, but once you do, it's everything you want.
And especially for those who play summer ball, high school is a really nice transition for that. Mm-hmm.
What about the difference in transition between softballs and softies, which are completely different feel, different weight? How does that do? What does that do for you mechanically?
Well, hitting, there's obviously not enough, but it's a different pop, and it's a different, I want to say, texture, just like the dirt is. So throwing them, catching them, it's different, and it's a different feel, and you have to get used to it.
Okay, and how much of a weight difference is there between a softball and a softie?
I don't think there's a weight difference.
Okay, so they've done a good job about...
I think the weight difference is the same, but when you're holding it, when you're throwing it, it feels different. Today in practice we used softies, and I pitched in the gym with a hard ball, and it felt way different. It felt way better.
The weight distributed. The weight
distributed better.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
I imagine you guys both play summer ball. You're committed to Southern Oregon University.
Yes,
are you going anywhere or plan to go anywhere?
I'm currently looking at Texas Lutheran University.
Okay. What does summer ball do for you as far as development? I know both of you last year, got time in the circle, but it seems like this year it's a whole new level, and I imagine a lot of that is worked on, in the off season. So what has summer ball done for you as far as high school athletics go?
I know for me and Jordyn, this year and the past year, we're on higher level teams for our tournament, so that really boosts our confidence level up in high school, and so this year we're just getting our pitches and doing what we need to do and getting our job done.
Summer ball for me is definitely a learning stage. The coaches that the team I'm a part of does a really good job of always making sure that I'm on the top of my game, and I always have a good attitude, and I'm always doing something to get better. Mm-hmm. So there's never a break, ever. Mm-hmm. And you're always working on a mechanical thing, and sometimes it's not looking at the huge picture, it's always looking at, oh, you need to use your fingers more on this pitch, or maybe start back more or something just really small. And
And it
I think
makes
our
everything
tournament
a lot
coaches do
better.
a really good job of keeping us kind of keep going and keep advancing.
Why do it? Why softball? Why put in all the time and effort? What motivates you guys?
I absolutely freaking love softball. I love it. It is my life. And I'm so fortunate to have the opportunity to go off and get my college paid for to play softball. And that was one of my main goals when I was little, was go to college softball and play and get a good education while doing it. And it's the satisfaction of getting a good hit, like running the two and having the crowd cheer for you. Like, yeah, nice hit, yeah. Or like you're pitching really good and you're just getting all your outs and you're pitching the right pitches. It's just that gratification. It's like, I've worked so hard for this and now it's paying off. That's why I do it.
Megan?
Basically that. Because, like, I know when I'm having a bad day and I'm at school, I'm like, I feel so bad for if my teachers are watching this, but I really just want to skip class and go hit a bucket of balls.
It's just a stress reliever.
Yeah.
I know when I get mad, I just go down to my garage and just bust out a bucket of balls. And I feel better.
There you go. I have a question for you guys, and it's not always the easiest one to answer, but it is an easy question to give. What's harder, or what's more of a driving factor? Is it wanting to win or hating to lose? Neither. Okay, fair enough. That's a good one, and I'll ask you to elaborate in a second.
Okay.
That's a hard question to answer.
Yes, it is.
I mean, you're striving to get better is where I see it. So if that comes out as you winning, then fantastic. If it comes out as you losing, fantastic. As long as you're working on something, and let's say you go 4 for 4, but your team still loses. I mean, as a team, we work on things, and if we feel that we did better in hitting or we got those ground outs, good for us. I mean, we found what we needed to be working on and we executed it.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
Win or lose, if we do our job, our coaches, they'll support us all the way. They'll tell us some things we did wrong, what we did right, and what we're going to work on.
Okay.
So that's why I said neither. She basically explained that.
I can do it. Right on.
Kelso has a somewhat unusual situation in the circle this year. Most teams will go with one pitcher for probably 95% of their innings. You're lucky enough to have pretty much 2 aces as well as a up-and-coming pretty solid freshman in Capri Franzen. What's that like to have 3 pitchers you can count on, and what's it like sharing time in the circle?
I think that as a freshman, Capri is doing a fantastic job. All of our freshmen are doing amazing because it's intimidating coming onto a team with, what do we have, 4 seniors, 5 or 6 juniors. I mean, you have some big shoes to fill. And I think they're always ready at any time. And especially Capri, I'm so proud of her because she's so young. And I think she does a really good job of doing her job when she's on the mound. She does a great job. And being a part of a pitching staff that is as strong as it is the biggest honor I could ask for, because as a team, we also gelled. And if it's just one person out there doing their job, that's not how it should be played. I mean, you have to have multiple positions, and we have that depth with our freshmen and our sophomores and our juniors and our seniors. We have that depth.
And when it's kind of like, even when she's not playing or she's pitching, she supports me and Jordyn a lot throughout our game and throughout our seasons, and it's really nice to have that because we know that when we graduate, we can count on her, that we're leaving Kelso in great hands.
We talked a little bit about this before the podcast, but the motion of a softball pitch does not, fatigue arms like, a baseball player would do. But, for me personally, it seems like a mental challenge that you have to overcome. You guys, if one of you starts to struggle, can rely on the other person to come in and help out. Is that somewhat of a mental relief to not have to know, hey, whether it's, whether I'm doing well today or not, having an off day or an on day, I have somebody else there backing me up.
It's great to know that, because as much as you want to do well, you know that if I'm struggling, I have someone there to back me up. And it's nice because even if you have your one star pitcher, she's not going to pitch good every single day. You have to have depth. I mean, one pitcher could be pitching fantastic, the other pitcher could not be pitching fantastic. And I mean, it's whoever works on those days, and when we complement each other is when that happens. Or when we're both pitching really well, that complements each other too.
Jason, you've seen him play. You talked to Coach Sorensen for your story that comes out Friday. What have you seen from them? What do they each do well? What did Coach Sorensen say they each do well?
A lot of good stuff. One thing that was interesting, I think, with especially you two, is there's not that much of a velocity change, and you guys, you guys seem to throw a lot of stuff really well, and that's something that's rare. A lot of people throw a good heater, a good rise ball, maybe an off-speed pitch, whatever that might be. But you guys, I think, really have something unique in that you guys have a true arsenal of pitches, right? A rise ball in one hand might be, better versus a heater for another, but it's so marginal that as Coach Sorensen said a few days ago, Kelso has a luxury of riches right now.
Right.
And I also think that what you guys possess at the plate and in the outfield for you two, it's like when one of you has to be on the mound and only one, there's no loss to the team as far as how good a certain lineup is. And that, I know, to a coach is beyond being a luxury of riches. I think that's invaluable to coaches, and Coach Jordyn kind of said that. He said seeing Capri at the plate in batting practice, for example, early on in the season, and knowing that she was able to hit you guys a little bit, and seeing you guys throw as well as you guys were too, and also in batting practice hitting like you were. He was just all the coaches were just licking their chops like, oh, we can't wait. Let's get the season going.
Yeah.
And so, and obviously that 10-0 season record has come to fruition. So,
Yeah.
I have a question about upcoming, going into the state tournament and getting ready for that. How much different does this feel this year after the season you guys have had than maybe a season ago or a season before that?
Well, I know last year we had one senior, Nariah Morgan. She plays at Centralia now.
Okay.
It wasn't too different that we lost her because we had another catcher coming. But this year with our 4 seniors, which play infield, and then our new 4 freshmen, it's going to be way different the next year when we're seniors. But besides having 4 new freshmen come up, I think the feel is kind of around the same, that sometimes we get a late start in game on hitting, but throughout the season we get better, and when it comes to postseason, we do our job, and we beat people we're not supposed to beat, and we beat the people that we are supposed to beat.
Okay. Is there any added confidence, with the 10-0 season record going in?
I think there definitely is a confidence boost, but going into a tournament, knowing that there's a lot of tough teams, we have to put our 10-0 season behind us and look forward. Because, we did great in this league. We did good. We did 10-0. That's fantastic. But now we have to focus on what's going on now.
I can dig it.
Yeah.
And we can't. It's like pitching. Like every pitch, one at a time. You walk with last batter. That's okay. She's on base. It's fine. Next batter. Get her this. Get this one. And it's just that forward mentality, tapping into what you know you have to tap into.
We just have to go into the tournament thinking we haven't lost anything and we haven't won anything. We don't have anything to lose.
Our team has a lot of confidence, and we are so close that I think that our team is so special because of that. I mean, we know how to pick each other up. We know how to, keep each other up And I mean, we're just like a family. We're like sisters. I mean, we know how to pick on each other. We know how to make each other laugh. I mean, it's literally like a family.
Yeah.
And I think that's a contributing factor to winning games.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, absolutely.
The bi-district playoffs start next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The South Sound League gets to play their league tournament and important, meaningful games this week. How tough is it to have a week off? It sounds like you guys will get a non-league game in there, but how tough is it when, you know, your possible opponents down the road are playing meaningful, you know, league playoff games versus you guys kind of sitting and waiting a little bit?
Well, I don't, like last year, the years past, we haven't played any games in our 2 weeks off, but this year we played Castle Rock and we're playing Union next week. So I think even if it's just one game per week, I feel like that really helps us with like, hey, we need to work on this before postseason, we need to work on this too. But in the past years, we've done great, honestly.
The teams that are playing now, they have momentum going. I mean, they're winning games. They're knowing what it's like to lose games. So they have that momentum going into districts, as they have the advantage because we don't. We're playing non-league games, but it's not the, oh, we just won league or something like that. I mean, that's why we're playing these games, so we can try to keep our momentum going as we go into the tournament.
Yeah. Also, with going into the tournament, I think it's mostly mental, because as long as we believe that we're gonna win, we're gonna make it far, we can do it. We don't need to play all these games. They can play as many games as they want, and we can play none, and we can still go out there and beat them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last year, I think it was a bit of shock to some for people to see you guys go as far as you did to the state quarterfinals. What's the goal this year? Is it to get further? Is it to win a state title? What's the goal this year after what you guys accomplished last season?
The goal is always to win a state title. We want to come home with some hardware. But going deeper in the tournament is our goal. We have to set another PR. And if that PR is winning state, then so be it. I mean, I want to win state. We all want to win state.
And
our whole family wants to win state.
This is the year that we win state, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we're ranked 6th in state, and I think we're better than that, and I think that in the state tournament we're going to show that.
With the depth we have, our team, I feel like our team has the potential to win. The game's a game of inches and seconds, and it's how you use those inches and seconds to win.
Does that being ranked 6th does that provide a chip on your shoulder that you can kind of like when we were talking about coming in, where you know you can, and you just got to show it. Is it that sort of thing for you guys?
Yeah, we got to come in knowing like we're this rank, but we want to be more than that, and we know that we can be more than that.
And honestly, it wouldn't bother us at all if we weren't even ranked on the top 10, because we know where we're at as a team. I mean, in like 2009, 2010, when the Kelso Lassies won state, they weren't ranked in the top 10, and they came in and they washed everyone out.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last thing I want to touch on has kind of been a theme this year of Kelso athletics not only doing well on the field in several different sports, having their best years in decades. But as well in the classroom, you saw 3 academic state champs in the winter. What's been key to Kelso having such success both on the field and in the classroom this year, and how is that fostered?
Well, the name of students at Kelso is student athlete, student before athlete, and we're all smart. We're all smart girls. We're all smart kids. Kelso kids are smart kids, and we all care about our education, and we all care about our sports.
Right.
So you have to have a certain GPA to play, which is pretty low, but we always strive to have more than that. And it's about education first, as much as we don't want it to be, but it is.
I think something that's really the key is like when we're not playing, when we're in fall and winter and we're in our off season, we need to be taking those hard classes then. And when we're in spring, we need to be taking those lighter classes, so when we miss that 5th period class, it won't be like, hey, you missed 5 days of school, you're behind on 5 essays.
That's me
Right.
right now. That's me.
We'll move forward into some other playoff pictures here. You guys start your bi-district at the end of next week. Before that, we have, looks like right now Woodland has somehow made the 2A district playoffs, kind of coming out of nowhere. As long as some things don't break, really weird, they should make the 2A district playoffs. So it's impressive for them with how many freshmen they have. And then there's the Castle Rock softball team. You guys played them pretty recently. What do they do well, and what makes them, a state contender as they've been the last year and this year?
I think what makes them a state contender is kind of how they set up the game. They don't put one pitcher in and then keep her going.
Mm-hmm.
They like to change it up, which really offsets the hitters.
Yeah, that's definitely a big factor.
And then at the 2B level, we have 4 teams. Tudor Lake, obviously, at the top of that class for our local teams. 3 state titles in 4 years will pretty much speak for itself, regardless of where they're seated. Going into playoffs, I think last year they were also 2nd or 3rd seed and ended up winning the district title. So Tudor Lake, always good. And then we have Toledo and Owako, and the surprise, Winlock. Once again, another Winlock program that seems to come out of nowhere. Yeah. So right now, Winlock Athletics doing very well, and then Nacelle Softball also in the playoff picture. Jason, you've seen a few of these teams play this year. Who do you like to advance far? Who's going to make it out of districts?
Kind of as we talked about Tudor Lake, because we've talked about them, I think it seems like every week on the podcast here. They got a squad. They got a real squad, and well coached. And so I fully expect them to, at very least, be right there for the district title and continue on to state. Winlock, this is going to be a real test for them. How can they perform on a stage that they haven't become familiar with? In different groups, kind of adapt to that differently. Some don't feel any pressure. Some feel pressure and react to that positively. Some negatively. And I think this next week is going to tell us, I think, a lot about the roster, and also probably what the individual position groups need to work on. And those are two that are. I expect that Winlock can at least win 1 district game and maybe 2, and then if they do any more than that, I'm not saying, I don't want to sound bad about this, but I don't want to say overachieving, but being that they are such a young program in their success, that would be something that would tell me that, hey, this wasn't a fluke. We're here to stay. Mm-hmm. And so, Owako always in the mix too. So.
Last year we had 3 state semifinalists with Castle Rock, Tudor Lake, and then Rainier over on the Oregon side of things. They're, of course, going to be right up there as well this year. I would expect to see a 4th this year with the Kelso Lassies making their way. But that by-district tournament's awfully tough, and state gets even tougher at the Class 3 level.
Yeah.
So our next segment, trivia time. Last week's question was, when was the last time the Winlock baseball program made the state playoffs? The Chronicles sports editor was the first to guess that right. Aaron Van Tile, the winner of our trivia, he guessed 1991. That is the correct answer. This week is going to be a little bit of a more simple question if people know how to use the internet. How many runs per game did Kelso softball team allow during their league season? So that's our question. Tweet us your responses, comment wherever you watch our video, and hopefully these ladies can convince their friends to respond as well. So that's our trivia question of the week. I want to thank Megan and Jordyn for coming out, as well as Jason for breaking down some things, and Sterling Auto Group for sponsoring our podcast yet again. We will see you next week.